to using Blackboard. This is our summer training series 2020. My name is Carla McKenzie, and I'm the instructional technologist for Morton College. So before we begin, I do want to let you know a couple of housekeeping items that may be very useful to you. In the upper left corner, there's a magnifying glass, which allows you to control the magnification. If you click that button, it will open up this sliding panel, and then you can zoom in or zoom out on anything that you can't see on the screen. So that's very useful. If I'm showing something on the screen that may be slightly illegible, you can personally control your zoom in and zoom out. If you wanted to minimize any disruptions with people leaving the session or joining the session, you can certainly do that by clicking on the little purple tab in the lower right corner and then going all the way over to the gear, which is the My Settings tab. It's the fourth tab. And then you can click on notification settings, not the audio or video, but the notification settings, and you can deselect any of the notifications that may be slightly bothersome to you. For example, all of the audio notifications or the pop-ups that may show up if someone joins the session or posts a chat message. Now, our session today should run the full 1.5 hours. I will leave about 15 minutes of question answer at the end. And my style today will be to present the content and then I will demonstrate. So we'll kind of go back and forth where I present content and then I will demonstrate shortly thereafter. If you do have questions, you can certainly type those into the chat and I will get to those at the end. You can raise your hand if you're having trouble hearing me, and then I will kind of address that. But otherwise, I'm expecting the session to run very, very smoothly. So unless I'm having a technical issue, we're going to hold all questions and hand raising until the end of the session. And so I just want to say, if you're new to Blackboard, welcome. I did receive a few requests. One, that I make the presentation as user-friendly, and two, that I go as slow as possible. So I will do my absolute best to meet your requests. Definitely, I do believe I have created a user-friendly presentation, so I know that you're going to get a lot out of this session. I do want to say that in order to increase your comfort level with Blackboard, you will need to follow up with me either via email or ask for some training guides and handouts or other resources that are on the web. And I am so willing to work with you and answer any questions and follow up with me via email. I'm going to go ahead and get started with our agenda today. I'm so glad you're here. So our agenda today will be to customize the course menu, upload the syllabus, create and organize content, locate the communication tools used in Blackboard, which are announcements, email, and discussion forums. Those are the popular ones. Viewing the student preview, viewing a list of enrolled students, locating the grade center, and viewing student submissions. So we do have a very full agenda for today, which is no problem. I'm going to go as slow as I can, and we're going to get to all of it today. So with no further ado, we'll start with customizing the course menu. What I'd like for you to see is that on the left, this is the default menu for a new course. So unless your course is being copied from an existing course that has been taught in previous quarters, this is what the menu will look like. And when you customize the course menu, really you're designing the primary navigation that students will use to locate their course content. It also indicates to students that your course is well organized and that you're technically proficient in Blackboard. So specifically, when I mentioned that instructors are going to customize the menu, I mean that you're going to create new links. You may rename these existing links. You may hide them or completely remove them on your course menu. So that's all I mean by customizing the course menu. So you want to have a well-designed course menu for your students. And I want you to notice here, there's a no content icon. That's what this indicates. This means that if a student were to click the syllabus or the course content links, there would be nothing to show. So that's what we're going to fill in today, is the syllabus and other content. And these are the common things that you will do to prepare your course for this summer. So I'd like to start by letting you know that the sections of the course menu, if you take a look at the top half of the menu, this is the section that students that instructors will design for the students. And so it's really going to be useful to them to go directly to the content that you deem they need to have for the course. At the bottom of the menu, you'll see this section is not available to your students, but instructors use this section to manage the course by accessing course tools or the grade center, or maybe customizing some course themes. So this section we'll use as an integral part of our course, but this is the main section that the students will actually see. When you customize the course menu, all you need to do is click the plus symbol, which is in the upper left corner of the course menu. And then you kind of get this little sub menu. So I've outlined a couple of very useful areas, the content area and the tool link. Content area links allow you to go to another content area. So here, that would be week 1, week 2, or week 3. So when students click this link, they're going to see everything that they need for week 1 requirements in your course, and so on for week 2 and 3. That's called a content area link, and it links you to another area where you add additional content. Unlike a tool link, which would be these links down here, a send email tool link, or a discussion forum tool link. And those are the links that go to another tool inside of Blackboard. So all of these links are going to be very useful to you in your course. So to create a content area link, you would just go ahead and click the plus symbol. This submenu will open. You'll click the content area. You'll type a name for the content area. For example, week 4, April 24th through May 1st. And then you would make that link available to students, to users, and then click the submit button. Now, this is a content area for new content only. So that's the only time you need to click this. It's for new content. If you're going to edit a link that's already there, you would click the little chevron or the drop down right next to the content that you want to edit. So for example, you can rename a link, or you can hide a link, or you can completely delete a link. And all of those options are accessible right here in the chevron. I do want to point out this little square with the line drawn through it. This means that the link is hidden. So sometimes instructors hide things for future use, and that's absolutely great if you want to plan out your whole course and then just hide some of those links. You can certainly do that. So just remember that the link with the square and the line drawn through it means that the link is hidden to students. So I'd like to share with you a couple of examples, and I'm not going to say what good examples are and what bad examples are. I'm going to let you decide that for yourself. But I want you to start noticing the logical organization of the links. So is there a logical progression of content, course content here? How well they use dividers. This is a divider right here. Does it really divide the content, or is it just kind of sitting out there? Number of links on the menu, the number of links to the same content. Right here is Virtual Office, and that's going to go to the same place as Blackboard Collaborate. So there's 2 places on this menu to get you to the same place. So it's kind of multiple links to the same content that creates a little course menu clutter, so to speak. And then here's even another one. Now this one students can't see, but I do want to call your attention to the misspellings and the mixed case and the initial case. So really you're sending a message to your students, and I want them to have a really positive image of you. And their first image is going to be through the use of the course menu. Here is a couple of more examples. And the first thing you should notice is the color. This almost kind of looks like the bottom half of the menu that students don't see, but this instructor changed the use of their color, and you can certainly do that. I would suggest colors that are very legible and to be cognizant of how the colors could contrast. But this one is working for this particular instructor. This instructor has a link for every week, and that's kind of nice, but by the 16 weeks, it looks a little cluttered. I assure you, during the beginning of the term, there was only one link here, and this course menu kind of it grew as the quarter went on, as the term went on. So all of these links weren't here from the very beginning. They were hidden and shown as the instructor needed it. So that was kind of nice. In addition, how about this menu? Very concise, very nice use of subheaders, the communication subheaders for the communication tools, and then the assignment subheader, and then also this divider. So they did a really nice job of kind of breaking up the course content. When you first begin your course, on your course menu, there'll be a link to the syllabus. And if you notice, there's a little blank square here. That means that the syllabus is not there. So our job as instructors will be to click this link. And when we do, we'll see a menu open up. And you can click the Build Content button and then click File. And then this page will show. And so this page allows you to add a file. And in this case, it's going to be a syllabus. So you can type the name here, which is syllabus or summer syllabus. And then the type of file that you're going to browse and add most likely will either be a Word doc or a PDF file. And then in essence, you can just click submit at this point. Now, I did highlight this area of the screen because I wanted to share with you, in a lot of the content items, you're going to see this over and over again. So I want to explain it to you so that it just becomes normal for you to see this. And it's because it kind of looks like there's like too many options to choose from. But permit users to view this content is the default. And that just means, yes, the content is available. So the syllabus will be available to the student. You could hide it, but usually the syllabus you want them to be able to see. And then track the number of views. The default for this is no. And so here, you don't want to track the views unless you want to be able to track the views. And what that means is, if you want to know which students actually downloaded the syllabus or even clicked on the syllabus, then you would change your option from no to yes. And sometimes that's very helpful. Students will ask questions, and then you may point them to the syllabus, and you'll find that they didn't even look at it. So this is kind of nice to be able to track the views sometimes. And then if you wanted this content to be available at some date in the future, then you can select the date that this content will display after. But since this is a syllabus, as I mentioned, we will display it immediately and we won't bother with this. But with other content items, it's going to be useful, very useful to set the restrictions on the date so that the content shows at some date in the future. And so then when students click the syllabus link and notice that no content link is gone because we just added that syllabus, when they click this link, here's what they'll see. They will actually see the syllabus that you uploaded. So that was kind of great to be able to do that as a group. There's other course content that you can insert, and I want to let you know there's items and files and audio files and images and YouTube videos. You can also insert discussion forums and tests and assignments. So one thing I want to let you know, most of the content that you actually upload is created in some other software besides Blackboard. For example, a Word doc or a PowerPoint or some image that was created in a graphics program. An item is created directly in Blackboard. So if you wanted to type content directly in Blackboard, for example, an agenda or a list of objectives, that's what an item would be. But most of these you can still upload. It's just that they're created outside of Blackboard. And we'll do an example of that today as well. I want to let you know that if you have a lot of content in your course, you can certainly organize with folders. And the folders, you can name them logically for the students so that they can find the content that you want them to find. So if you were to create a content folder, once again, you would click on the link in the course menu, whatever that content area is, and then you would click the Build Content button, and you would select Content Folder. So if I had to back up, once again, I would click the link, Build Content, and here's the content folder right here. I want to call your attention. Every single item that you create, every content item that you create in Blackboard has a name. So you're not going to be intimidated at all because you see name the folder. So you can give your folder a name, and then here's those standard options that I mentioned. You can make the folder available, you can track the views on the folder, or you can set the folder to display at some point in the future. So this is what I mean. You're going to see this area a lot on a lot of the content items. Now this one I highlighted in orange for you because I want you to know that this content editor will be on every single content item that you create. So this is another one that you should just get used to because it's on every content area. And so if I typed a name for my folder here, right here, I might just type a description. And that's all this area would do. But I can highlight it, or I can change the font type or the size, or I can make it in bold, or I can change the color. I can even add a file to this particular content. So any of these items, I can add an image, but mostly here will be text or some instructions of some sort. And then to really get the user's attention or the student's attention, you can make it bold, or you can increase the font size or the color or something like that. When you use folders, you're going to logically organize your course content, of course, but in addition, you're going to name your folders appropriately. For example, week 1, and you may give them the dates, or unit 1, and you may give them the dates. No matter what, when the student clicks on the folder, they are absolutely going to see all the content that you put inside the folder for that week. So there's not going to be any ambiguity to the student as to what they should be doing. Here's an agenda, and this is an item. This is what I mentioned about an item. So here's an agenda, here's a web link for them to go to, here's a YouTube video for them to watch, here's a PowerPoint lecture, and then here's a follow-up worksheet. So for each of these weeks, we have everything that they're expected to do right there inside of the folder. And I would suggest that you arrange the folders so that the most recent content appears on top. For example, week 1 was the first folder that the student saw in week 1. But of course, week 2 came along and week 2 appeared below week 1, and week 3 appeared below week 2. I would suggest that you rearrange the folders so that the most recent content is always on top. So by week 8 or week 16, students are not scrolling all the way down to get to the course content. They can clearly see that we're on week 3 right here as soon as they enter. So just a little tip to kind of help you keep the students visually recognizing what's going on with your course. And I would suggest after you add all that wonderful course content that you switch to the student preview. Now the student preview gives students or gives you a chance to see what the students are seeing. So if you have some folders hidden, then you go to the student preview and then you make sure that they're actually hidden. Or if you have some folders that you believe should not be hidden, you're going to make sure that those folders are available for the students. One of the questions that I always get from instructors is that they say, my students, I posted my assignment, but my students say they can't see it. Well, you can catch that before they catch your error by switching to the student preview. And if you can't see it in the student preview, then they can't see it. So you just want to make sure that you go back and make that item available as the students are expecting and as you told them that the item would be available for them. And now we're going to transition to a demonstration. You guys did so well by hearing me for that first almost 20 minutes of customizing the menu, uploading the syllabus, inserting course content, organizing with folders, and viewing the student preview. You just endured all of that. So what I want to do is demonstrate each of those items to you, and then you should be very comfortable to be able to practice on your own. So bear with me a moment while I share my screen with you. I'm going to share my application with you. And right now, you're going to get the tunnel vision. Don't worry, that just means everything's working, so no problem as I switch to my Blackboard course. So here's my Blackboard course, and we are on my course menu. Here's that plus symbol that I told you would be there. It is there. So I'm going to go ahead and click the syllabus link, and you'll notice there's no content there. The open square means that content doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to go ahead and click the link, and just so that you know, here's my announcement. So now I'm going to click the syllabus link, and here's that build content button. And I can add a file or I can add an item. Since this is the syllabus, I'm going to add a file. Undoubtedly either a Word file or something like that. So here I'm just going to name it syllabus, of course. And I'm going to browse my computer and I'm going to locate the syllabus, which should be right there. And it's not. One moment, bear with me. Here's one right here. And I have a PDF of the syllabus. Now, I already know that I don't need to do anything with this, these standard options. Remember, tracking views, permitting users to see the content or hide it, or setting the dates for some date in the future. You will always see this. So don't be intimidated when you see it. So all you really need to do, type the name, upload the syllabus, and you can press submit at that point. And here's my syllabus. So now when students click the link, there's the syllabus right there available. And because this is the syllabus link, I'm not going to put any other content in here, just the syllabus. Now I'm going to add a content area link, just like this one, which is week 3. And I'm going to click the plus symbol, content area, and I'm going to select the week 4. I've typed this in already for you, but you will have to type this. So I just typed it in so that I can select it quickly. I'm going to make it available to users, and I'm going to click submit. Notice the week 4 content area link appears right here. I'm going to move it up right here. All right, so I'm going to move it here. Notice that there's no content because I just created it. So there's absolutely no content here. So I'm going to go ahead and click the content area link. And then here is my build content. This is where I put all the content. So first I'm going to add an agenda. That's an item. And I'm just going to type, this is the week 1 agenda. Okay. And then I actually have it saved what I want. So I'm just going to copy and paste it right here. And I'm going to paste this in. So that's my agenda. I don't have any attachments. I don't need to hide it or track the views or make it available some date in the future. Don't need to do any of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and click submit. And there's my item. It's an agenda. It's well numbered. And so now what I need to do is just go ahead and start putting in all the other content that I want them to visit. So I'm going to, this says review the elements of a legal memorandum image. So let me add that image, build content, image. And how do you know where you are? Here it is, week 4. We're still in the correct content area. So build content, image, and I'm going to say legal elements. That's the name of my image. I'm going to browse my computer, and it is where I want it to be. And then I'm just going to go ahead and click submit. I could put a description here. And there's my image. So suppose I'm teaching a criminal justice course. I have just a little oomph to my course because I've got some color and I've added an image. And then this can be part of an assignment where I tell students to look at this image, and then they're going to come up with their own elements of a legal memorandum, so to speak. So it gives some color to your course. I also want to add, let's see, what else do I tell them to do? I'm going to also add a lecture. So I'm going to go back to build content, and that's going to be a file. And the lecture that I'm going to add is justice. This is my justice lecture. And I'm going to browse my computer. And here's my PowerPoint for my criminal law lecture. There it is. And I'm just going to add that. There's my PPT. Here's the standard options once again that I don't even have to bother with because I know what it is. And I click submit. And there it is. There's my lecture. There's my image. And I'm going to add an assignment. Okay. So one thing some instructors don't know is how to add assignments. And you might say, well, I just added the file. I like assignments because it gives them a Dropbox where students can resubmit whatever it is that you want them to complete for the course. So if you add a file, it doesn't give them a Dropbox or a submission box to where they're going to return items to you. So that would be in assessments. And I'm just going to go ahead and type assignment 1. And then I can give them instructions right here if I want to, or I can upload a file. But what's most important is the file that's right here that gives them the instructions. And I'm going to go ahead and copy it out. Here's my instructions right here for that particular assignment. Or I can, like I said, I can put them all inside of a file and attach the file. So this time I decided to just paste it here. Of course, I can change the font size if I want to and the color, but I'm not. I'm just going to leave it there. I can add a due date. So suppose this will be due Saturday and I don't care for midnight. I like noon, Saturday at noon. I do want to give them points possible. So that's required as evidenced by this asterisk here. Everything else is optional. I can make the assignment available. I can display it after a certain date. I can track the views. So once again, here's that section that I told you about. They're always going to see this. So in a way, you already know what the options are on the page. One thing that I didn't mention is rubrics. You can create a new rubric, but I do handle that in another session. So I won't associate a rubric with this, but you certainly could. And then click submit. And so take a look at this course. I have an agenda. The students have nowhere to go, but they know what I want them to do. I have an agenda. I have an image. I have a lecture. I have an assignment. And when you create assignments, the column is automatically put in the grade book. So that's kind of nice. The column's already in the grade book. We already have the submission folder, and we're good. Okay, we are cooking with gas with that one. Let's see if there's anything else. I may want to create a folder also, or a YouTube video. So let me do that. Here's a YouTube video. And suppose I wanted them to also watch a video about apprehending a suspect. I can do that. So I'm going to type in the search, apprehend a suspect. It comes up with all the videos. And then this is the one that I've already reviewed. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that one. I can give them instructions here, or I can attach a file. Here's those standard options again. And I'm going to go ahead and click submit. So I have an agenda, I have an image, I have a lecture, a submission box, and I have a video. So I'm just going to move this up because the submission box is the last thing that I want them to see. And my course looks great. I look very technically proficient. I have all these different types of content items that I want them to do in my online course. And so the only other thing I want to show you is a content folder. And the folder, I'm just going to put other resources. Here's my folder. And then I'm going to put, please click here for additional resources. And actually, I'm going to select the content, and I'm going to increase the size, and I'm going to change the color of the text so that they don't miss it. I don't want them to miss it at all. So I'm going to go ahead, and that's bold. All right. So I have everything. I already know what this is, and I'm going to click submit. And here's my content folder. I'm going to click that content item, and then maybe I might want to add a web link. So let me go get my link on how to brief a case. And then which folder? Yep, I'm in the right folder, build content. I'm going to create a web link. And I'm going to paste the URL. And here, this is a link to brief a case. I'll brief a case. And then and of course, I can add a description instructions. I can also add another file. I'm going to click submit, and there it is. So when my students click week 4, I'm going to show you what they see because I'm going to go to the student preview. So here's the student preview. You know you're entering the student preview. It's nice and yellow right here. And when my students click week 4, what do they see? The agenda. They see the image, and I didn't tell them what to do with the image, but I do. I tell them to review the elements of a legal memorandum. Here's the lecture. Here's the video I want them to watch. Here's an assignment where I ask them to watch the video and respond to my questions. So whatever content I put here, they're going to know what to do with all this content that I made available to them. And they can even click this folder and see some additional resources. And so if the folder wasn't available, I would know it. And so I want to catch my error before the students catch my error. So I can exit the student preview. And my course looks good. My course looks very good. And I think that I've added all of the items that I mentioned. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We are doing very well on time. So don't worry. I only have I'm about halfway through the lecture, almost halfway through. So we're doing great on time. If there's no questions, I'm going to check the chat.
This is great, by the way. I'm learning so much. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I am so glad. I'm so glad. And I know that others feel the same way. I am so glad. So we're going to continue with the lecture portion. We just covered our demonstration on customizing the course menu and uploading a syllabus, inserting content, organizing with folders, and viewing the student preview. So great job, you guys, for enduring all of that. We are about halfway done with the presentation, so I'm going to continue on with course announcements. Course announcements, they really are a reliable source of communication between you and your class. If you want them to know something, you can put it in an announcement, especially time-specific information or any changes to the course schedule or reminders about due dates. So students are really going to look at those course announcements, and you want to get them in the habit of every single week looking at the course announcements, at a minimum every single week. In addition, if you wanted to create a course announcement, I want you to know that the course announcement shows up in their My Announcements module as soon as they go into Blackboard. So they don't even have to open up your course, because My Announcements module is on the outside of all of the courses. So they'll see that even before they enter your course. But in addition, when you create your announcement, you can send them an email of the announcement. Once again, they don't even have to enter your course. So a lot of times we want them to come into your course, but they'll have no excuse to get that announcement if you also send a copy via email. So when you create an announcement, you would click the announcements link, and then this is the page will show. Now, announcements are already in your course menu. So it's already a tool link that's right there. You click the announcement, and then you type a subject or a name or a topic for your announcement. Here's that content editor where you're going to type the body of your message, no problem, whatever your announcement is, and you can bold it, and you can add bullets, and you can change the font size. I always increase the size of my announcements to about 18 or something like that. And then here you can make it available, or you can make it available at some future date. So this one only makes it available immediately. This one makes it available at some future date. Now, if you make the announcement available at some future date, I want to let you know that the email announcement immediately does not work, because it always emails a copy of the current announcement at the time that you post it. So if you post this at some date in the future, this will email a copy of the announcement right away. With regard to sending emails, if you don't see the send email link in your course menu, you can select course tools. And then, of course, you would select to email all users, or you can select a single user. And you would just type the message right here in the content editor that you're already familiar with. And you can bold, or you can change the size or the color or even the font style. You can attach a file to this email, and there's a little attachment, a little paperclip in here somewhere. But you can do everything that you can do in the other content areas. You can do that here and send it in an email as well. Oh, here's the attached file. They took the little paperclip out of here because they made it very obvious right here to attach a file. And then you would type the body of your message right here. This always sends to Morton College email. Students do not have the option of adding their personal email to Blackboard and have the message go to their personal email. This only sends to their Morton College email. So you may want to let your students know that. I am creating student classes. I will tell them that they need to regularly check their Morton College email, as a matter of fact. And then you would just submit. And then the last communication tool that we'll cover is creating a discussion forum. Now, discussion boards, they allow communication and very, very worthwhile engagement between one student to another, or even from one instructor to a student. Okay, so you definitely want to promote that student engagement. It does allow asynchronous participation, meaning the students don't have to be logged in at the same time. And you, as the instructor, you will create the forum, and then the students, they're the ones that are going to post threads. So right here, I have two forums, the Get to Know You forum and the Student Presentations forum. In the Get to Know You forum, I have 3 students that posted their own thread. Maria, classmate, posted a thread about being positive. John's student posted a thread about being social. And Mary, participant, posted a thread about being energetic. And you can track all the unread posts, which ones you unread or read. And then you can track all the total posts to the thread or to the forum. A little bit later, I'm going to show you how to grade these. But when you're grading a discussion forum, you'll be able to see which students posted to other students. So that's a really, really nice interface. So to create a discussion forum, in the control panel, click Course Tools and then select the discussion board option. Here's the name of the forum, just like the name exists for any other content item. Here's the content editor. This exists for every other content item that I mentioned. So you would type the instructions here, of course. You can make the form available now or some date in the future. And then the forum settings, you can select the standard view, which means students will be able to see other students' posts before they post their own. Now, sometimes I like that because they can see another student's work and they're like, oh, that's how to do it. Okay, I get it now. So I usually tell students they can look at other posts, but they cannot duplicate the answers. I usually tell them that. Or if you want them to have their own original work, you would select the participant view. That's the one I like to call it. Blackboard doesn't call it the participant view, but I do. And so this is when your students cannot see another student's post until they first post their own. So that may be appropriate depending on the assignment. In addition, you can create a non-graded forum or you can create a gradable forum. If it's gradable, you need to enter in the points possible. You also need to give it a due date, or you don't need to, but it's kind of a good thing to do. And then also you can indicate how many posts will appear before it appears in your needs grading section. So in other words, if you have a class of 30 students, after every single post, you don't want to be, you don't want it to go to the needs grading section. So you can indicate after 10 posts, then give me the indicator that I have some grading that I need to do. So not after just 1 or 2 posts. In addition, students can subscribe to threads, which means they'll get an email if there's any new postings to the thread or to the forum. And then I also allow students to create their new threads so that the threads are kept separate by their name. You can allow them to edit their own posts or delete their own posts. I usually don't let them do that, and I don't let them do anonymous posts either. But these are options, and it's really up to you. I do always allow additional file attachments so they can attach a file. And then it's nothing more than just clicking the submit button. And then the discussion forum will be created. And so at this time, you've done so well, once again, in listening to me when I talked about the communication tools, that I'm going to go ahead and do another demonstration on creating an announcement, sending an email, and creating a discussion forum. So bear with me while I share my application with you. And I'm going to click on this tab. And I just happen to have a discussion forum link right here. And I really like that as a tool link. And I have my email tool link. If you didn't have those set up, you can always go down here to course tools and find send email way down here in this list, and find discussion board way down here in this list. So you can see how useful having a tool link actually is. So I'm going to click the discussion board so that you see it goes to the same area. And here it is. I already have a get to know you forum right here. And here's my assignment 1 feedback. So I created that earlier. Pardon me, I meant to delete it. And I want to delete all its content. So I'm going to remove that forum. And we're going to create a forum. And this is the assignment 1 feedback forum. I can type in the instructions here. Please post any feedback that you want others to know about assignment 1. All right, so here's where copy and pasting comes in. And I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger, as I always do. I'm gonna make it bold, and I'm gonna change the font style, okay? And then I can go down here. My form's gonna be available immediately. I'm gonna go ahead and use the standard view. I would like to create a gradable forum, and I'm gonna enter in the points possible. When I do that, if it's a gradable forum, I'm already going to have a column in the grade book. So this is so nice to automatically have a column in the grade book that I don't have to create. Once again, this is where I'm going to say, let me know that I need to start grading after 10 people have posted. I can assign a due date, definitely. I don't like midnight dates. Hang on. I like my dates to be at noon. Here we go. And then, of course, I can add a rubric. That's for an additional course, but I can do that. I will explain that. I think that's in my advanced class. I can allow subscriptions, as I mentioned. I can allow members, my students, to create new threads, which I want to do, and allow file attachments. And that's all I need to do. So I'm going to submit my new discussion forum. And there it is. I have 2 discussion forums. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and create an announcement by clicking the announcement link. If you didn't see it there, it's under course tools. And so here's my announcement, create announcement. There's the subject of the announcement again, quiz 1 postponed. Okay, and then we'll just say quiz 1 has been postponed until tomorrow evening. And we all know what that means. That means you didn't get the quiz ready in time. So we have to postpone it until the next day. It'll be available for the students on another day. And I always make it available, and I increase the size and let them know, because they need to know that. And then I'm going to go ahead, and I'm not going to date restrict it, but I am going to send them an email copy of this announcement, because that's very important for them to know. And if I wanted to add a content link, I could click it here, browse. And if I had the quiz somewhere, let's say I do have a quiz out here somewhere. Let's say I have it available in week 4. I can link to the quiz in week 1. So I'm going to link to the week 1 folder and submit. So right here in the announcement, I have quiz 1 is postponed. And here's the link. And once they click it, they'll go directly to the week 1 content. And once I have that quiz posted, it will be available right there for them to go directly to it. But I've created a content link with that one. And I heard a bell, so I just want to make sure that I don't have any questions laying out there. I'll be right with you if there was a question. And then lastly, I'm just going to send an email. Send email, and I'm going to send it to specific. I'm going to send it to all users. Okay, so this will be John Guest. He's the only person in my class, actually. So I wanted to select the users, a single user. That's what I wanted. So I wanted to select the user. Those are my only two students, John and myself, and just him. And then I'm going to type the subject, which is quiz 1 available, something like that. I'm going to tell John, because John is a special student, and so I just wanted him to know that his quiz is available. Longer. Hi, John. You can take quiz 1 at any time between now and next Friday at noon. And so John will see this email because he's a special student and I wanted to make that quiz available to him. I don't need to attach a file, but I can send an email to myself and click submit. And so my email was sent just to John, and of course I can send an email to all users as well. So that's our communication tools that we'll mostly use: announcements, emails, and discussion forums. So I'm going to head back to my course right now. I'm going to stop sharing. Next, what we're going to tackle is viewing a list of enrolled students. And so we don't have any more demonstrations. I have about 10 more slides, so we're doing great on time. No worries. If you want to see a list of enrolled students, down at the bottom in the control panel, you can go ahead and click users and groups, and then click on users, and you'll see the username, first name, last name, and the email of every student in the course. So that's very useful in a face-to-face class if you have a student that shows up that shouldn't be there. With an online class, when the students log into your course, the only ones that should be able to log in are the ones, of course, are the list of enrolled students. You can also see that in the Grade Center, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. When we talk about the Grade Center, when you set up your course, you do need to decide which grade system is best for your course. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the points-based system, where you add up all the points earned and you divide by the points possible, and you get about 84%. But what does that look like in a weighted percentage-based grading system? So I took those same grades and I gave them different percentages for the different categories. So exams are worth 40% of the grade, projects 25%, and the final exam is worth 35%. Well, you come up with a slightly different final grade, and that's because the highest scores that the student received is on their projects. And their projects that they had 2 weeks to complete are only worth 25% of their grade. So they're not really seeing that 93 and that really nice 86 because it's only worth 25%. So I want you to know that whether it's a weighted or a points-based grading system is really based on personal preference. It's up to you. It may be based on the number of assignments or the different types of assignments, but do understand that there's a difference, and it's primarily based on how the weights are assigned. The Grade Center is very good at helping students to monitor their own course progress and you monitoring their course progress. And we hope if students can see their grades in a timely fashion, that they're going to stay engaged in your course, but it allows them to become strategically responsible for their own success, or at least that's the idea. That's what we hope will happen. This is the Grade Center. It is accessible via the control panel. And if you click Grade Center and right down here at Full Grade Center, this is what you see. And this can be overwhelming. So I want to take this in sections. We're going to talk about the left section first. And here you see every area that I've highlighted in orange is what we're going to talk about. So I have first this action bar up here. You can manually create your columns, or you can create a calculated column. Now, a calculated column is like a totals column or an average column or even a weighted totals column. So this column is made up of other columns, whereas this one is just a single column, like this one, assignment 1. Now remember, these columns, we hope if you use the assignment content type, then this column is going to automatically be created for you. Right over here, you can select the students. Now this is so nice to be able to email directly from the Grade Center. You can look at their grades and see who's not doing so well. Click on the checkbox and send them an email, just because you know where their points should be, and you can send them an email if they're not performing up to par. In addition, here's where you see a list of names. So this is what I mean. You can see who's supposed to be in your course, either in the Grade Center or that list of enrolled users that I showed you a little earlier. Here, these are the default columns that are in every course, and here's some more down here. Now, I hid all of these others because there's about 5 default columns, and I don't want all of them to show. I definitely want the last name and the first name and the last time that the student accessed the course. So I'm happy to see those columns. But the username, I don't need to see all the time, and the student ID, I don't need to see that, and availability. So I hid those from view. So it helps to hide columns sometimes. So that concludes this left section. You can sort in ascending or descending order. And now we're going to cover the right section of the Grade Center, which is right here, highlighted in orange. And if I take a look at this button, I do hear my instructors say, how do I download to an Excel spreadsheet? Click this button right here, work offline. That'll allow you to download to an Excel spreadsheet with no problem. These are the column headings. Now, they may be manually created or they may be automatically created, but those are the column headings. And when you click the little chevron or the drop down here, you'll get this menu right here. And this is so nice. You can look at your grades or your submissions and see which students haven't submitted, and you can just send a reminder automatically. So you're gonna say, oh, not everybody has turned it in, it's due tomorrow. Let me just send a reminder. And you don't even have to type it. It automatically just sends a reminder if you have a missing item to the students. So that's so nice to be able to do that. They should remind themselves, but if you wanted to be a really super nice instructor, you can send a reminder to them. You can sort in ascending or descending order, of course. You can hide the column from the students or from yourself. So sometimes I hide my participation column from the students. I don't let them see what I'm giving them for participation. So that's hidden. And sometimes if you make a faux pas, you can delete the column. And what I see a lot is that instructors hide the columns and they say, oh, I don't need that. And I'm like, well, can we just delete it if you don't need it? But yeah, there may be some columns you don't want to see. So you can hide them or delete them. The ones that you can't delete, that you need to hide, are those other 3 that you don't need to, but it's a personal preference. They can't be deleted. So the only option is for you to hide them because they can't be deleted. This section here is where you would type your grades, of course, and it's in these little cells and containers. You may also see one of these little icons here. So for example, you might have a grade here from a quiz, but it also has needs grading. So quizzes that are automatically scored in Blackboard may still need some grading because there's some essay portion that Blackboard doesn't know how to grade. So you need to grade the short answer or the essay portion of the quiz. Or if you exempted a grade for a student, that little icon's going to show up here also. And so you would just click here. There's a little menu that will appear and you can exempt a grade for a student. If you have a lot of files from all 30 of your students, you can download all into one single zip file. So that's kind of nice so that you don't have to keep coming in and clicking and keep coming in. So that's kind of nice. But this is the legend to tell you what all of the icons that you might see in this area are. And so now we've covered all of the sections of the Grade Center. That was very painless. And we're going to also take a look at the needs grading area. So in your Grade Center, it's not just you putting in grades, but it's also maybe the grades, the submissions need to be graded. So you would find anything that needs to be graded, anything that your students submitted is going to be in the needs grading section. So you're going to click the needs grading section, and then you can sort it by category, by assignment or discussion, any one of those. You're going to find the student whose submission you want to grade, and then you want to click on it. Once you do that, it'll open up just like this. Here's their nice submission and their name. You can type a grade right here. You can type some feedback to them, like good job. You can attach a file. You can add your own notes. So you might want to say, this student was given an additional week to complete this assignment. That's a note to you. Or you can say, this student is having personal problems at home, so that you make a physical note to yourself as to why you gave that grade or something like that. This is a little known fact right here. If you wanted to verbalize your feedback, you can talk and send an audio file to your students, and it will be right there in the My Grades area, and they can click on it and actually hear your voice. Or you can record your feedback. You can do a video where you are actually talking and they can see you, and they will get that in the My Grades area also. So I do give a whole class on this as well. When I cover Grade Center Essentials, I cover this, but I just wanted to give you a teaser of information in case you wanted to know more. And then if you wanted to grade a discussion forum, if it's a gradable forum, that's in that needs grading section also. You would click on the student's name and you would see all their postings appear here. You can give them a grade, you can type feedback, you can add a file, you can add a voice feedback or video feedback if you want to, or you can add your own personal notes there as well. And so you guys have done so well. I am at the end of my presentation and we are about 20 minutes ahead of time. So we're right on time for me to take questions. But I do want to say that Grade Center Essentials is the class you want to take if you want to know how to grade submissions and give feedback, etc. Creating online exams, that's another great course that I teach that's going to be offered later this week or later next week. But I do have sessions running. So if you need to see when the sessions are running, I have a registration form. And if you want to increase your comfort level with Blackboard, this is the way to do it. Not just with my courses, but there's a ton of resources online as well. But use me as a resource. I am great at responding to email and getting you the information that you need. And now I've concluded. So one question that was asked in the last session was, how do we see which students attended our Collaborate session? So I want to show you that because I really thought that was a good question. And so what I want to do is share my screen with you, and you'll get that nice tunnel vision until I actually go to the tab that I want you to see. And here is my session from earlier. Let's see if the recording is here. Right here, session options, view reports. So once you find the previous session by selecting all previous sessions, then you click on the three dots, which open up the session options, and you can view a report. Here are my sessions with 9 attendees or with 19. I won't show you that one. It's kind of private as to who's in my session, so to speak. But this is a report. This one only has one attendee, so that one's probably me. But I want to show you that everyone's name and their role, but when they first join the session and when they last leave the session and their total join time. So you can get this for any of your Collaborate sessions. I do see a question in the chat. Let me just check and see. How do we access the information in this presentation to use as a reference? I can make this presentation available, send you the PowerPoint. Thank you guys for attending. You've been an awesome audience. I really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it.